Welcome, Rob, to the space. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. You are here for, I think you're going to enlighten us with a few pieces of awesome information. You are full of information, but mostly we're here to talk about the September 24th, 2022 Hill Climb reenactment. I'm learning to say that because this has happened well before you and I were even born, which will happen here in Port Jefferson on a Saturday. And why don't you give the folks that are watching a little summary of what they can expect with the Port Jefferson Hill Climb?
Yes, we're recruiting quite a few antique cars, classic cars. We hope to have around 50 or 60 cars. And what they do is they assemble at the village hall, the village center parking lot.
Yeah.
And we have what might be called to the car guys a cars and coffee. We have some refreshments for them. The crowd can look around and view the cars. It's free to spectators. And then around 10 o'clock, we start announcing the cars as they go up the hill. And each car owner gets his little glory moment where he writes a short description and the announcer announces the car as it goes up the hill. They circle back around and there's a little more social time with the car owners if you want to learn about the cars. We're also hoping to have one car owner of a very unique car give a little lecture, just sort of a walk-around lecture. It would be Howard Kroplick's Alco, a Vanderbilt Cup car that had raced, I believe, in 1909. And we've been holding these typically every 5 years, starting in 2005. We made a run at it in 2020, but we couldn't quite pull it off with COVID.
Sure.
So the most recent one was 2021.
So what's really amazing is the cars that enter should be and are going to be from 1979 or older. Am I correct? So
yes,
that's automatic. What is that? 31, 33 years, instant classic, so to speak, right? What's the oldest car you might see there?
It's probably Howard's car, the Alco. We also have a 1911 Hupmobile that comes over from Connecticut. Last year we had at least one or two cars from every decade, from the 1900s to 1979.
Physically, this hill, I don't think people realize, Port Jefferson, the village of hills, it's pretty long, it's pretty steep. I've done it on a bike and it's not easy. So it's over a quarter mile, I believe, right?
Yeah, the old accounts of the original hill climbs listed it as about 2,000 feet with a grade of, 8% or so.
8%, it feels like 30%, but yeah.
In the olden days, in the early hill climbs, I think they started down by what is now East Main Street. Where Main Street meets Broadway.
Right.
They mentioned it started at a garage there. And luckily, the 1910 hill climb was very well documented. A professional photo company came out from New York City called Spooner and Wells. And they shot a lot of photographs, and they're currently reside in the Detroit Public Library digital collections.
Very, very cool.
We're gonna have some of those on display during the hill.
And now, of course, everything's documented with iPhones. So 100 years from now, people will certainly know that we did a reenactment of the hill climb in 2022.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few YouTube videos of the hill climbs that were reenacted.
We're going to be live streaming the event. The cars actually go off at what time? Saturday the 22nd.
We try and stay pretty prompt at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. All right, I understand we have a sponsor for the event. We should mention King O'Rourke, who's, by the way, been very helpful in past events, including the Dog Festival. They're stepping up here to this event, which is wonderful because they're a car company. They're a notable dealer on Long Island, and I believe they're entering a car, so that's pretty cool. You might have a 914 there, right? Porsche 914. I don't know. You may see somebody else driving it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I have another vehicle that my grandson might drive as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. What should be obvious are these. This is incredible. I mean, I saw these only 10 minutes ago, and I'm still in awe. Tell us what these are.
Well, these are 1911 Hill Climb Trophy Cups. I had written a little promotional article for last year's Hill Climb, and I got an email from a woman in England, UK, and I almost didn't open it. Her last name was Carless, and I thought it was maybe something that was like a robocall.
Yeah.
And then in a weak moment I opened it, and she said she had these two trophy cups from the 1911
This
Hill
is
Climb.
unbelievable.
and she said she really felt they belonged back in Port Jeff. And of course I agreed. And,
of course. This is so epic. So folks that are watching, this cup, this tri-handle cup, is 112 years old.
Correct. Yeah.
It's just absolutely incredible. And the fact that somebody kept them in perfect order and then donated them back, that's just amazing.
So we now have a friend in the UK, for sure.
For sure. I hope that these find a home here for everybody to look at 24/7, or as close as 24/7 as possible. I know you're working on something with that. That's fantastic. So those that are watching that have classic cars, again 79 and before, I know they can register via the Port Jeff Hill Climb Facebook page. They can both download a PDF form and or electronically. We have room for how many cars?
We have probably room for at least 60 cars. We have a little more room than last year because the rink area is available.
Give us a brief history of the first time this Port Jefferson Hill Climb happened, and then just bring us through the years and a little bit of a summary.
Yeah, we've done a bit of research, and a previous historian of the village, Rob Sisler, did quite a bit of research. I got to give him a lot of credit. He did it before the internet was really active, so he had to go through microfilms, and nowadays a lot of stuff is digitized. Google went into a lot of the trade journals from the engineering libraries at the universities and digitized a lot of the information on these trade journals. So the first record we have is early 1910, where they talk about promoting a 1910 hill climb.
Okay.
And it was held in 1910. They held it again in 1911, which the trophies represent, obviously.
So in 1910, I mean, what percentage of people even own cars? I mean, today it's 100%.
From what I can gather, it was obviously wealthy folks for the most part. The winner of these two races, he had two different cars and two different hill climbs. So at one time in 2 years, he had 4 different cars.
Right.
So he was obviously a wealthy dude.
And they were showing off.
Yeah.
We should mention that the reenactment is just that. It's not a race, but it's more of a showing.
Right.
For 2022. Back then, it was a race. The
Yes.
best time won these.
Correct. They had some sort of electric timing system set up at the bottom of the hill, and the top of the hill. And they recorded the times, and all those times were recorded in the trade journals. It varies. Apparently, at one point they had a 400-foot running start to the first timing wire. In other events, they started from a standstill. And some events, they don't even document how they did it. So,
Right.
so the times are all a bit variable.
Right.
The ending was always somewhere near the Belterre entrance, the gatehouse area at the top of the hill.
Amazing. Absolutely. And that gatehouse was there back then?
Yeah,
Amazing.
that was built quite early. Yeah.
Did you get any indication of what people did afterwards? I mean, was it a day after?
It was similar to what we would do when we had like a festival day. The little Baptist church sold clam chowder.
Very cool.
The Arden Craig Inn was a big center of car guys.
So we have to remember there was no Harborfront Park there.
Yeah.
You know?
They mentioned one of the articles mentioned that the library agreed to publish the program, and the proceeds would go to a library fund.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it was a very community-based event, from what I could gather.
So you go from 1910, 1911, and then through the years, there's a huge gap between 1925 and 2010.
Yeah, the first event after 1911 was 1924. And they had two, oddly enough. They had one on Thanksgiving Day, and then they had one right before Christmas Day, December 20th.
That's incredible. It could have been ice on the road.
Yeah, and then they had one in 1925.
Okay.
And then that was the end of it. There was some little inklings of promotions here and there, but it never occurred. One of the little things I gleaned from looking at the history was people were getting bored. There was only a few real race cars. Cars were getting more common, and seeing a regular car go up the hill wasn't that exciting.
Well, what's interesting about it, I just thought about this right here and now. In 1911, I mean, there really couldn't be such thing as a classic car. Like, we're looking back to when this event happens, and we're looking at cars from the 50s and 60s. That's 50, 60 years old. you didn't have that opportunity to look at something back then because it didn't exist.
Correct.
And if it did exist, it certainly wasn't going up a hill.
Yeah, most likely it was.
Right.
It was.
So it's funny how the event takes on a different interest factor here.
Right.
I mean, there were people there just to see, wow, look at that. I've never seen one of those before,
Right.
which I just did when you pulled up in a Porsche 914.
Well,
I've never seen one of those before. But that's fantastic. So then, interesting that the 60s, 70s, which were muscle car days, nothing happened, right? I guess car shows were the thing.
yeah, car shows were the big thing. The local Long Island car clubs. There's the Antique Auto Club of America, and they have chapters. And there was the Vanderbilt Cup region and the Baconic Bay region, and there was also a Finley Robinson Porter region. Finley Robinson Porter built some cars in Port Jeff Station, just south of the railroad tracks, at the old what's called the Lace Mill. And all these clubs were very active, and I think they took the initiative to get these reenactments going. They had some car shows, but the first reenactment was, from what I can tell, was 2005. 2005, and they actually brought a Finley Robinson Porter car down from Maine for display. I don't know if it was run up the hill, but it was certainly here. It's documented in the Sisler book on the Port Jeff auto history. And then they continued every 5 years. I don't know how the 5-year cycle came to be, but
Right.
we had so much interest after the 2021 event. They said, "Oh, this is such a great little
Sure.
event. Why don't you do it every year?" So we decided to do
Sure.
it.
Excellent. So 2021 was the last event. 2022 is around the corner. If you're watching this video, we absolutely encourage you to come to the event. You line up on the sidewalk, plenty of room there as these cars make their way up the hill from the village center up to the Belterre Gatehouse.
And they circle back around,
That's right.
come back to the village, and come back to the village center area.
It's a day of friendship, camaraderie. There'll be places to talk to the car owners
Oh, yeah.
in the village center parking lot and along the sides of Harborfront Park. Right?
Yeah, not surprisingly, the car owners are very, very proud of their
yes, they
cars.
love to talk about their cars.
And they love to talk about it.
So pictures and good times, and come see this event. And we thank you for everything you do, because I think you brought a level of knowledge to this event that I don't think anybody else could do. So thank you, Rob, for that. And I look forward to working with you that day and just making it happen with the mayor, who's calling the race, as usual.
Yeah.
We will be live streaming this around 10 a.m. Saturday the 22nd, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob.
All right, thank you.